happy and safe New Year to everybody in the room. We're delighted in the Local Enterprise Office to start reconnecting because, as I said to you, Noel, during the week, I think that's what we miss is the connection during these times. It's part of a value system I think we all have, and particularly as Irish people have, is that connectivity with people. We weren't born to be solitude. While adhering to health and safety guidelines, I think we all need to put a little place every week aside to connecting with people who add positivity to us, who add value to us. Don't be ringing people that are going to tell you how many people passed away with COVID. You need to be cutting those kind of calls down. I'm sure you all get them. I ring my sister and I come off it going, and I can say this because she's not linked into this morning. Oh, Jesus, I come off worse than I started. So I actually heard a really good tactic, Noel, at the weekend. Any of you have momentum at the weekend?
Having a look around the room, yeah, the one or two people see. No, yeah.
No. And maybe you already, if you had been there previously, would have heard Maura talking about the pink bow. Any of you heard about pink bow? It's a really good little exercise. Okay, so you have this naysayer coming to your door. You have them as an employee. You have them in your personal life. And you know when they come, all they're going to do is do this massive dump of negativity. And obviously, you know, it's really important that we're all respectful and that we listen as people speak to us and, you know, validate their concerns. So she had this scenario where virtually she would put out her hands and she would listen, but she would take all the negativity and the complaint and everything. And then when the person walked out of the room or came off the call, she would virtually take her hands and take them as if she was wrapping a bow. And she would wrap a pink bow, and then she virtually in her and psychologically in her mind hand it back to them. And it really is a really clever exercise because I've tried it once or twice since, and it really does work because what it does is it stops you absorbing all that negativity. And I think that's really important right now. We can't, I suppose, close our eyes to the reality of where we all are in our personal and business lives, but we don't need to take it all on. We don't need to take it all on. So anyway, that's my little tuppence work this morning, the pink bow.
Well, listen, there's a great bit of tip, a bit of a pink bow. But actually, before we go forward, I think it's important to rewind a little bit. It is just under a year ago, so it was the beginning of March. We had done National Enterprise Week, and then the following week things started to get really serious, and we went into the first lockdown. And since then, a lot of supports were introduced by the government throughout the year and administered by the Local Enterprise Office. Some have evolved, some have changed, some have disappeared, some new ones. And I think that's what we wanted to touch on today, that what the supports were from this day going forward. And thankfully, I think we can say that there is now light at the end of a very dark tunnel. Now, it got quite darker over December and January, as we know. But great to see that the vaccines are starting to come out and we can see some sort of end. But it could be quite some months yet. So we're going to talk about some of the supports that are there. But Jacqui, before we kick off, how are you? I think that's really important. We do this with all our speakers whenever they come on to that. And I think we should do it to yourself. How are you and the team? And Aoife Horan is here in the room as well. Do you know what, Aoife? We need to spotlight you in there as well. Absolutely. So there's Aoife on the screen.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
So one of the members of the huge team, says I, 4 or 5 really hardworking people in Local Enterprise Office in Kildare. But how are you and your team, Jacqui?
Okay, so thank you for asking. I'm much more comfortable talking about everyone else than I am myself. But Aoife Horan is one of those people actually that adds great joy to my life and great positivity. She's an absolute breath of fresh air. She came into the office as a graduate working in marketing and promotion, and she's just a joy. And that smile never changes.
I
Thanks,
knew you were going to
Jacqui.
comment on the smiles. We spotted
Never
that.
ever changes. So you need the likes of Eva Horn in your life at the moment for all
Well,
sorts of
Thank you.
reasons.
well,
Thank you
Aoife,
very
I know we
much.
put the spotlight on you there and you're up on the thing, but you know what? If you go back into gallery view, you can see everyone else is smiling with you at the moment. So there you are.
Good.
Yeah.
And it's really important to keep that positivity.
Okay.
Jacqui, how
Yeah.
difficult has it been for, the supports were coming thick and fast, but so were the calls from a lot of people looking for help.
Yeah, it was a very, very difficult and challenging year. Many people might not have known. I'll share some statistics as we look through the sports in a few minutes, but the office was totally unprepared and understaffed for what I had to deal with. But so was every local enterprise office in the country. We weren't built to sustain the level of supports and the level of requests that came to us. But I feel very privileged and very honored to have been able to be open, to be able to be in every day, to be able to work every day and support the business community. And I'm incredibly proud of the Kildare Local Enterprise team. They truly, they finished in December. They went home to their families at Christmas and they were absolutely ragged and exhausted, without a shadow of a doubt, and burnt out. And we'll be dealing next week. Our session next week is about resilience and burnt out. We have an excellent speaker going to talk to us about some hints and tips on that. But it was a very tough time. They certainly answered the call from government and the minister and Enterprise Ireland. We were the main local source for distributing the services of government during the pandemic and will continue to do so. But and a massive effort across my staff, which, was only 6 people at times, and we were catering for some 10,000 businesses and a budget of nearly 6 million euros. At one stage, and then with the Restart grant that went up to 56 million. So huge amount of money put through, huge amount of supports. But then we had fantastic stakeholders. I see Christine O'Brien from Talent Pool working with us. We had Jigsaw working with us. So it was our staff and the Entrepreneurs Academy, Noel, that allowed us continue and develop the supports and get it out there to the business community. On a personal level, I suppose I lead a team, and I lead the local enterprise team, but I also lead the economic team, and the economic team are responsible for the buildings that we do, the capital, like the merits and so forth, and broadband, telecoms, anything that has to do with economic development. So it's a whole team of 12 then, when you're looking at the broader. So my job is to motivate and encourage them and get them motivating. But we talked about it earlier. It's a very difficult motivated team unless you actually put your own life jacket on first and your own gas mask. And I think, leading teams or running businesses, we often neglect to do that. I certainly would have, I run a very busy diary, and I would have never put time for me, time for exercise, time for eating properly. That was something I did if I had time left over. But I think we all came into 2021 with a promise that we would start to look after each other, our own needs, and then look after the business community need. Because, if you're not fit yourself and physically fit yourself, you're not at the game, and you have to turn up every day at the best game you can. So yeah, that's I heard a great statement called going from self-abandonment to self-care. And I think we all as business owners and managers need to review the amount of self-care we give each other to make ourselves fit for the times ahead. Yeah.
One of the things actually, and if you don't mind me saying it, and I think this is important from the outside, I think Christine O'Brien is there from Talent Pool. She'll agree with me that the team there in the local enterprise office in Kildare and all the Leos around the country, we're really swamped, and one of the analogies I'd use was the trading online voucher. When you think about, there was only around 1,800, I think there. How many applications is there, Jacqui?
We had 700 applications. These are 30 letters of offer for the last of the 2020 scheme. Their applications that came in from the 31st. Between the 28th of December and the 31st of December, 72 applications came in.
It's very Irish, isn't it? When you give a deadline, that 4 hours before the deadline, they're all going to come in. But the deadline was because it was reducing from the 90% back to the original 50%, and there's still as much interest in it as there was, which is great to see. And I think that was one of the supports that were introduced as a result of what we were facing, which was digital was all we had. The only way we could operate was online, so it was one of the supports. So with that in mind, I might just throw up the number one resource, which is the website. So localenterprise.ie/Kildare. And this is where, whenever something is announced, Aoife and yourself have it all wrapped up in very easy to understand language, and it's put up on the website. Isn't that right, Jacqui?
Yeah, that's right. And I think, Aoife, I have a slide deck there. Unless you, do you have it, Aoife?
I can share screen. Yeah,
you share screen, and we might just quickly go through. Now, I suppose what's different about this level of lockdown and where that happened, there wasn't immediate supports put in like there was, say, March, June of last year. And it's worth noting what's still available opposed to what has changed. Now, outside of the local enterprise remit, the EWSS assistance and the CRSS assistance, they're still available and primarily through revenue, which those that are either subsidizing the closure of their company or indeed getting a wage subsidy for some of their staff. Both of those are still there. While it's been difficult and challenging for some people to reapply with the most imminent lockdown because of sales they might have incurred in 2020, both of those are still available. Now, they're not administrated through ourselves, but are still available. Okay, we'll just go on, Aoife, to maybe the next, everybody at this stage will be familiar where we are. Now, however, this is a really important slide. While we are, and I'm in the office today, nearly 90% of my staff are remote and operating under restriction as per the guidelines. So we're still operating at full 100% service, but it is challenging to do that remotely. Just to give you an insight into 2020, nearly €1 million was invested into startup and expanding companies. So it's really important, I suppose, Noel, to I suppose highlight, notwithstanding the pandemic, the closures 3 times last year in Kildare, we're now into the third, that nearly $1 million was invested into people who started up or people who expanded their business. And there was an awful lot of companies that pivoted during the last 12 months, despite the challenging environment. And they got, I'll go through that grant aid in one of our next slides, but just to give you 92 businesses invested in doing up their shop front. 3,784 businesses availed of the online training. Over 1,000 people received expert mentoring. And maybe through the chat box, you might give me an indication, those that have joined us on the line. If I were to give you a mentor for free to work with you remotely, what would be your most immediate need? What is it that you'd like to talk to somebody about? If you put it in the chat box, we'll save it, and we'll work on getting you that advice. 1.7, nearly 2 million, 1.75 million was invested in the business continuity voucher. that was nearly 722 businesses availed of 2,500 to deal with an expert to make a strategy and a continuity plan for their business. And then, as we said, the trading online voucher, 1.5 million invested in Kildare. These are all Kildare-based figures. As I said, we distributed 701 trading online vouchers in 2020. In 2019, we administered 42. So in the entire year in 2019, we did 42. And last year, because of demand, we did over 700. So a mammoth amount of money gone into the community. And not only did that money go to assist clients, but if you think of what 1.5 million has done for all of those who work in marketing, all of those who work in the IT industry in Kildare, that kept them going. Equally, the painters that did the 92 shop fronts, the mentors, the trainers that delivered those training. So it's not those just those recipients, but it's the auxiliary stakeholders that we work with that were all kept going. So really important to keep that in perspective. And I think it's all about perspective. We need to, at the moment, it's about the stories we tell ourselves. We can tell ourselves things are more positive, we've got vaccine and we'll get there, or we can tell ourselves, this is really dreadful, it's really bad, I'm closed, I don't see a way out. So it's the stories we tell ourselves. And my point today is you don't have to be on your own to do this. There's plenty of assistance free of charge available to you, and we want to give it. Okay, so next slide, Aoife. Thanks a million. So I'm just going to go through the finance grant options. And we in Kildare don't set the criteria. The criteria is set by national government on what we have to fund. We fund as much as possible and as many people as possible. And I would be noted, and I say this not by standing, on a podium with a halo. I'm saying it because I most likely will be the first head of enterprise that would end up in jail for my flexibility and grant aid. So where I can, I will go to the end to get money into Kildare-based businesses. Do you want to move on, Aoife? You can keep them coming thick and fast. So the feasibility study. So if any of you have an idea to pivot your business and you need to do some market research, you need to access some consultancy, and you can indicate to us that it's either manufacturing business or it's an international traded business that you're needing to explore, you can get 15,000 or 50% of the cost of doing that feasibility study. Okay, and we'll show you how to do that. It's very simple. The priming grant is for businesses that have established that are 18 months or less. And it's for the purchase of capital equipment. It's for it's for salary support of new employees and some marketing. And it's for businesses that are manufacturing or in the digital space, or indeed can give an indication that they are internationally trading. And the similar with the business expansion grant, for those who are operating and in business more than 18 months, there's a similar scheme for them. The technical assistance grant for micros, it is a grant of up to 2,500 or 50% of the cost of developing your business in order for it to be more global. And the most use this grant did in 2019 was for trade shows. So people went to Boston to see if they could get clients there. They went to Scotland, they went to Birmingham to trade shows and took part. Now that's, curtailed right now, but we've had some people who've attended trade shows virtually. Showcase would be a case in point. At the end of this month, an awful lot of our craft producers will be at Showcase virtually, and there are buyers from 16 countries attending that event. at the end of the month. So they would have used the technical assistant grant to pay their fee to get in there, and also to develop further aspects, translation on their website and so forth. I'll answer questions at the end of this. Okay, Eva. So there's an expression of interest form that anyone can fill in. Once I see that, I'll understand better the type of business you run and what you're looking for. I can't tell you by an email what grant you should apply for. I really need to understand the business model, where your customers are, and more importantly, what it is you need the money for. What are the steps you're going to take? Okay. The trading online voucher. So that is available still. It changed from the 1st of January from the previous 90% funding to 50% co-funding. That it hasn't been a Kildare-based business, that a decision, that has been a national decision. We already have people applying for that 50% opportunity who would have built their website or enhanced their website last year with 90% funding. And a second application is now permitted. What is it used for? E-commerce websites. So you've got to give an indication that this is an interactive website, that you can increase your sales by this website, opposed to the old-fashioned portrait website. You could use it for photography, while there is a percentage, I think it's no more than 20% or 30% of the grant now that can be used for photography. It's used for social media payment, and again, you can pay for adverts and so forth. But again, it's a percentage of the 2,500. You can redevelop your branding, your logos, or into your back end, your CRM system. So anything that will enhance your ability to reach out to clients and get more sales. To get an app, if you've previously got a TOV, to get a second TOV, you don't need to attend the Trading Online Information Seminar, because we have you on the register. But if you haven't had one at all, and this is your first time applying, you must attend the seminar. And the next one is the 21st of January and the 4th of March. And both of those are delivered. I think, Noel, are you delivering that one?
I am indeed. Yeah, that'll be me.
And Noel is a wealth of information. He will talk you through the application. He will indicate the pros and cons of filling it in. We have a 97% success rate in clients applying when they provide all the information that is required of them, and Noel will give you an indication of that. What I often suggest to people, even before they go to the Trading Online voucher, is start to identify developers or who you wish to work for, because you will need 3 quotes. So, and this is open all year. There's no closing date as such. It will be until the money runs out, and we haven't got any indication that that's going to happen anytime soon. From my point of view, one of the most positive things that came out of 2020, notwithstanding the change in funding, is that the Trading Online voucher, we administrated it, but it did belong in the Department of Communication, and now it's coming back into our own Department of Trade and Enterprise. So we have more control over the decision making on it. I know you can leave that one there, Eva. I know for a lot of you, they'll be disappointed in the 90%, 50% ratio. To be quite honest with you, I'm not. I think people will make more prudent decisions about their development going forward. An awful lot of people applied for the 90% funding, but didn't strategically use the funding in the best possible way. Often we make decisions because we can access that finance, but it really, developing the website is only one part. Actually having a website and driving sales is a skills that you have to develop. And we are running training for people to actually develop skills themselves to drive sales through their website. We partnered with Carlo Kilkenny SkillNet in one of their initiatives. We're working with Google. We're working with a number of independent trainers, and all of those digital programs are currently up on our website. Limited spaces, so I would suggest, you after this, you may go and look at the website and get in there first. Okay, for those of you either who don't have a platform at all and want to start with an introduction, or indeed you do have a platform, Shop County Kildare is a website and a platform that we introduced early last year. It was a national pilot. We were the first out there with it, and many counties have followed suit. And it's a dedicated website for Kildare-based businesses to showcase and sell their work, their service, their product. And I would, if you're not already on it, regardless if it's only a service business, and I don't mean that in a derogatory term, many people think of just selling product, but if you have a service business, certainly get it up there, particularly if you have vouchers to offer. You can sell them through here. It's free of charge. There is a small commission. It's being run in partnership with COVA, and COVA have the platform. They've done great work in terms of security, ensuring that everything is bona fide and all things are safe in terms of credit card details and so forth, and also your stock levels, etc. So have a look at Shop County Kildare. If you don't want to advertise, if you don't want to promote, and you do have a birthday or an anniversary or just a thank you that you need to purchase, go on to Shop County Kildare as your first port of call in order to support your own colleagues across the county. Microfinance Ireland is a national fund. It's loans of 5,000 to 25,000. Kildare-based businesses secured over $500,000 of funding through microfinance over the last 12 months. We will assist you with the application. I would suggest you need to have a proven record of sales, either previously before COVID lockdown or indeed forward orders, because you need to show, it's a bit like a private loan where you're asked to show that you're employed, like your mortgage. They need to be satisfied that you will have a means of paying it back in time. And I have a series of mentors lined up to support applications who want to. It's unlike grant aid. In grant aid, you can't access cash flow. Microfinance, an awful lot of businesses last year bought stock and supported cash flow through the microfinance. And I'd be delighted to help anyone with their query on that. Eligibility, any business, sole trader partnership with less than 10 employees, an annual turnover of up to 2 million, and who are not in a position to access finance from banks or other commercial institutes. No hidden fees, and there's also a moratorium. The first 6 months are interest-free and repayment-free. So, you could have access to cash free for 6 months and be in a position to pay it off. Most of the payments are made over 3 years. Okay. The Enterprise Support Grant, if you haven't already accessed it, is, if you've come off it from self-employed, do look at the intro office again and see how they can support you. The Shopfront Grant and Premises Grant is again there up to €5,000, 50% of eligible costs, or indeed 75% if you're putting in any form of accessibility, whether that's increasing visibility for clients, whether it's putting rails, age-friendly improvements, any element that can give us an indication that you're more cognizant of equality and accessibility, you can get 75% of the funding. That can be used for signage, lighting of your premises, repainting of your premises, etc. So they're just Farrell and Southern, who did a fantastic job on their premises through the Shopfront Grant. The Innovation Voucher. Any of you with a new burning idea, we are working with Maynooth University and Carlow IT, who have a host of people employed full-time to work with businesses on innovation. We're also running an innovation program with Carlow IT. But the innovation voucher is €5,000 of time spent with Carlow IT or Maynooth University on a novel or new idea, a new idea to do something, a process, or to develop something. So maybe have it in the expression of interest form that I alluded to earlier. And Aoife, will you share the slides with everyone after the event? Yeah, great.
Yeah, no problem at all.
And that you can see the links to those. But the innovation voucher, you can get 5,000. The only thing the advocate for an innovation voucher, some people use the innovation voucher to do some of the work and then a feasibility to do some more. The rule, and again, it's not Kildare rule, it's national rule, you must be a limited company in order to get an innovation voucher. And you also must pay the VAT on the 5,000. So it's 5,000 support and 1,000 paid by the company itself. Prototypes are made and etc. Yeah. Okay. Other ways we can support you. So again, specialized training program. Never have we had so much training and so much training online. We have all our programs up to the first end of Q1 up on the platform currently. Customs and Brexit training, really important, not only if you're exporting, but if you're bringing product through the UK, if you've supply chain issues. Do be aware of how Brexit is going to affect your business going forward. Data protection, a fantastic program that we ran with Talent Pool last year, and we intend to do it again. I would suggest anyone dealing with client data online in particular should be looking at the data protection. Our management development program with Blaise Brosnan, our lean principles. How can you be more competitive? How can you be more productive? Both lean in terms of a practical sense, if you've got a practical workshop, if you're manufacturing, but lean digitization is another lean principle that we're using, and an awful lot of service companies are accessing. How can they be more productive, particularly with remote working, with CRM systems and so forth, and sales platforms? So that's the lean for digitization. And as you see, now these programs aren't our needs, they're your needs. We developed this program listening to our clients. So if there's something you need, let us know. If we haven't already got it in the pipeline, we will certainly review it. And again, those of you that need any HR support currently, if you're thinking about your staffing in the future, you might be a little bit anxious about the decisions you make. Don't make them on your own. We've HR experts, we've health and safety experts, all who can help you. Okay. As I say, one-on-one mentoring available to everybody in the county. We have a massive panel of hugely qualified people, and I have vetted every one of these personally. They all have a qualification. They are not simply former business owners with experience. They have qualifications and they understand their specific areas. We do have some generalists, but we use those for business advice. Business mentoring, the difference between business advice and business mentoring. Business advice is general. I need some direction. I don't know where I'm going. Can I talk to someone? Business mentoring is, I really need to advance my marketing, or I really need somebody to sit down and review last year's cash flow, last year's P&L with me. I don't know where I'm going to go this year in terms of financial planning. That's much more intimate. It's much more focused, but you do need to know where your pain area is in order to get the best out of a mentor assignment.
Jacqui, just before we leave the mentoring, Brian from Porpoise asked a question there. Is there a list of individual mentors available for someone to see, or how does that system work?
Okay, absolutely. we have to tender for mentors and business advisors and trainers. And we came out of a 2-year cycle at the end of December. So now we have, and we finished the tender system in November. So we have a brand new list of those that will be working with us for 2021, and they will be on our website by the end of this month. But it's not who you see that you want to work with. Tell me what your problem is that you need solving. I will assign who I think is the best fit, and I will send you the profile of the mentor. It's not like picking sweets. It's not a popularity contest. You have to understand your own problem first. It's like going to the doctor. It's medicine prescribed per particular ailment. And the best surgical advice that I can give you, or surgeon advisor that I can give you. And I would know that. And I will share that. So it's not, I'd like to work with that person or that person. Okay. Everything that every advice that we give, every notification from government is all available online. And if you're not already following us, if you don't regularly check with the website, sign me up Kildare, follow us on all the social media, and you will be constantly updated. And Aoife does Trojan work informing our clients of what's available. Okay, so regardless of the business sector or size, the local enterprise has something to support you. And if we don't have all the answers, we certainly aren't shy about directing you where those answers can be found.
So thank you for that. I'm going to go through some of the questions and some of the comments, Jacqui. At the start of the session, we asked what things would we like to cover, not just in the next couple of join-in coffee mornings, but some of the requirements, as you said, for some of the training to be delivered. And Mitch kicked it off with saying some marketing. Jacqui McLaughlin said business plan and marketing. Marie Doyle Henry, marketing and branding. Orla Gilday, marketing. And it's great to see that affirmation on it, because if we look on the website, you can see that this week alone, we have digital marketing strategy workshops, both beginners and advanced. And we should explain how this works. So if we look at it, you can see it's booked out. That's a good thing, because we know then there's a demand. And speaking on behalf of Jacqui and Aoife and all the team, we know what happens when somebody's booked out, it'll be put on again, because they know that the demand is there. Yeah. So don't worry if you see them booked out.
But can I just say on that, Noel, if you see booked out, just send us an email. Say I wanted to do the digital marketing. I didn't see it. I see it's booked out. And we'll know that you're interested, rather than simply seeing booked out and walking away.
And if I may, and I see Christine smiling at this one as well. Christine O'Brien knows exactly where I'm going with this one. There is a small nominal fee, and it is something that we've always agreed with, because we've noticed in the past when training, and especially the really crucial one, is free, you will get it booking out really fast, but then not everyone turns up at the session. Yeah.
It breaks my heart when that happens. Now, I understand people have childcare challenges, homeschooling, and it's not homeschooling, it's emergency schooling challenges, and can't make it. But the amount of people, Noel, that we saw through 2020, when things were free, that just put their name down at a whim on everything. And what they did was they blocked an opportunity for another business owner to access that knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's not a fee. It's a commitment. That's all that is. It's a commitment. And Christine will know that. 20 quid for a program. It's only a commitment.
Absolutely. Completely agree with that. It's a terrible waste to see some of these really nice places. And in actual fact, they could have booked on the next one. When they could actually commit to it. So possibly under commit and actually fulfill that commitment is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
Christine, I love the house extension, by the way. The virtual background is fantastic there in the background.
Now, I am actually in an extension at the moment, but it's not painted. So this looks much.
That's very, very clean and tidy and aesthetically beautiful. Christine, I'll be around for coffee.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And great to see you. So for those who don't know, Jacqui and all the local enterprise offices in the country, there are a team of trainers and companies supplying it. And Christine is from Talent Pool. I'm the Entrepreneurs Academy, and there's loads of superb suppliers and companies working with the enterprise offices throughout the country. So it's a resource to use, and it's great to see so many people here putting in some of those suggestions. We're going to copy those suggestions and either add on extra sessions or develop new ones for you. So do another session of the Instagram marketing training that is booked out. So Siv has mentioned that. Don't worry, they will be. A really interesting one Peter has mentioned: ongoing issues with Brexit, especially customs and VAT. And Jacqui, that is still ongoing, and there is a session, there's a mentoring clinic on the 21st with one spot still available, but that's going to be ongoing, isn't it? That support will be there for many months to come.
Oh, absolutely. And if that gentleman wants to take that place, he should do right away. And we have another session that's one-on-one with an expert in Brexit and advisory on the customs program. And again, we have another customs program at the end of the month, Eva, I think the 24th or 25th, I'm not quite sure. But the mentoring is one-on-one. And anybody that has anything concerning themselves about Brexit, about customs, about taxes, tariffs, they should put their name down. Those mentoring sessions are free of charge, and they'll be contacted directly by the mentor themselves.
Jacqui, no, sorry, I raised the question. I couldn't do the one that you ran in Kildare last Friday week, so I did it in Cavan last week with BDO, and it's an excellent program. The girl Lorna who presented it made a, dare I say it, a turgid content into a very interesting and interactive day, but there's so much information to take from it, and that's no disrespect to Lorna, but she only deals with obviously customs and duties, and I am attending I've requested for some support this Thursday on that session you're talking about.
Great. So you'll meet Paul on Thursday on a one-to-one, and it's BDO that delivered our program last Friday, and we'll be delivering it at the end of the month as well.
But one area that Lorna didn't cover off, and it's not her area of expertise, and it's one of the things that I'll raise on Thursday, is the whole area of VAT and Brexit. And Lorna directed anybody on the call back into their local Leo, so I'll follow up with that.
Yeah, if that's the area, yeah, and you can do that. It'll be a one-to-one session, 1 hour with the expert. Okay,
we've also
Peter.
just got confirmation as well for another day on Friday.
So if anybody else has a similar need,
have a look at the website.
Yeah. Thanks, Aoife. Anything else there, Noel?
Yeah, there's quite a, they're all coming thick and fast now, which is great. So Deirdre Lane mentioned sustainability. So moving from a linear to a circular economy, which is brilliant. Accounts, Instagram, customer and staff retention, Karen Craddock said that. So all those suggestions are going to be saved. One of the things there, Kerry has used the system really well in the chat room. So just a quick reminder of how it works. Kerry has said to everyone, I have a WordPress website, so don't need to create a new website, would love lessons on how to navigate it. And straight away, Brian bounced in and said, yeah, we can help. Here's my contact details. And Kerry also asked then, like before, will we be sharing everyone's business names and contact information after the Zoom? One of the things that we loved about Zoom was, from a GDPR point of view, we don't have to get involved. The chat room is for you. So in other words, if you do want to share your contact details, you are free to do that. It is you opting in. And for those of you in the room that have not used it before, or a gentle reminder to everyone else, at the end of the session, if you're on a desktop or a laptop, where you type in on the chat room, there are 3 little dots to the right-hand side. If you click those 3 dots, it allows you save the chat. So you get a chance to see all the questions and suggestions, but also their contact details. Now, for those of you on a mobile device, either a mobile phone or a tablet, unfortunately, that feature is not there. So you'd have to scroll through and take a screen grab. That's the easiest way of remembering it. But we give you plenty of time at the end. If you wish to throw your name up onto the screen, into the chat, absolutely, you're free to do that. Bear in mind, though, it is a public forum and you're doing that for other people to be able to contact you. which is fine, but we're not involved in it. That's you opting in, and the chat room works itself. A quick one now, and this is a really interesting comment, and it follows on to a feast day that's coming up. So the Cahill family said a good feature for the Shop County Kildare is to do business listings with a link to the websites. And many members of the original Kildare have so many products to list that they might just prefer a banner and link to their website rather than putting everything else up. So that's one suggestion that comes through, which was agreed with. But Deirdre Lane popped in immediately and said, St. Bridget's Day is coming up. So a patron saint of Ireland, along with St. Patrick and Columkill, and one that's very much to heart to the Kildare County. She founded the very first monastery in the country in Kildare. So the 1st of February would be a really good hook, St. Bridget's Day, to support Kildare-based businesses. Jacqui, will there be a county-wide marketing drive for St. Bridget's Day?
It's a superb idea. Absolute superb idea. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll take that on board. Great idea.
So it could be something as simple as Deirdre just said there. She followed on and saying an agreed hashtag to share the values and the legacy of St. Bridget in our work principles today. It's a really good suggestion.
Super idea. Aoife, you and I'll do a separate call on that.
Taking notes here.
Great. Thank you.
So Noreen asks, how long does the technical grant take to arrive after you submit the application?
Okay, so is that the technical assistance grant? I turn those around in 24 hours. If all the information, so I need quotes, costings of what you wish to do, how it will increase your export potential or presence, and I can turn them around in 48 hours currently, remotely. The trading online voucher is taking considerably longer because simply of the amount that came through. So we're trying to clear the backlog that came in on the 31st of December, as I said, and we're nearly through that. And yeah, our whole mantra is to get resources into businesses as quickly as possible. We are very customer centric in our office. We're not administrators. We work in the principle of the client's shoes, and we look from that perspective. So as quickly as possible, but 48 hours on the technical assistance grant.
Yeah, that's super. And I won't mention the particular Leo in the country, but you can just imagine one of the ones I'm talking about where they have a massive catchment area and they've absolutely been swamped. And I know the turnaround time for the trading online voucher at one stage was out to 8 weeks because of the amount of demand. Kildare, we're not that amount. You worked really hard on getting it back, Jacqui and the team.
Yeah, so, we're on about two weeks now at the moment. Yeah.
Which is super. So thanks a million. Nicola Kennedy has offered me some eyewear and eyeglasses. Thank you very much, Nicola. This is great. So anyone that needs your reading glasses, and this is exactly what we're talking about. Please feel free to put your contact details up onto the screen. Now, one of the challenges that Jacqui mentioned, just a quick reminder, was what you'd like to see covered over the next couple of coffee morning sessions that we're going to do each Monday. I'm going to throw something into the hat on that one. There are some new features in Zoom since we've done it the last time. Breakout rooms are always there, but now you have the ability to choose which room you'd like to join. So my challenge to you is, if we were to finish the session now, we won't do it today, but the next ones, what topics would you like on the rooms that you could go in and join? So for instance, it could be Brexit, and we'll have a room there where you can join and offer some advice or go in and look for some advice on it. And it is just good old fashioned networking like we used to do in a live room, but the virtual environment allows us to do that. So not only some topics that we could use for the coffee mornings and some of the training sessions, but also things that we can do some live networking after the end of the session. So we'll be finishing this session soon. For those of you that do want to stay for the next ones, we'll have some network rooms opened with names on them, and you can choose to join them, and we leave them open for as long as you need them to be. And Jacqui McLaughlin has just said, breakout room suggestions, wellness service providers. Fantastic. Yeah, so that's the kind of things that we're looking for. Jacqui, that is all the questions that we have. I'm going to leave the chat open for as many comments and suggestions as we have. But I'll pass back to you to close out this morning's session.
Okay, thanks a million, Noel, and more importantly, thanks a million to all our participants this morning. Absolutely fantastic feedback. Love the interaction. Next week, we will only have one room initially, and then we'll do the breakouts for the networking, because next week we're focusing on, as I said, resilience and burnout, and some advice and support on that. And Aoife will get the details up. It's a really important effect. Green and sustainability, a huge agenda item for us this year, and we will be focusing greatly on that. I think I see a time management course would be wonderful too. I think there's already a time management course up on the website. If not on the first page, it's on the second page. February, March. Aoife's nodding. Yeah. I know I sign off these contracts, but I forget when they're happening. But I suppose, look, guys, ultimately, I keep repeating, do not be isolated, do not be on your own. These are incredibly challenging times, personally and professionally. But we're here to connect, and connection is the most important thing right now. So send on your email to local enterprise. Don't try the phones. We're all remote in the main. It's hard for us to manage the phone system that way. Email will always be responded, and you'll always get a very quick turnaround response. So any of your needs.